Many years ago, the need for a very specialized industrial auctioning service became apparent to us, and we formed Mohr Auction Marketing Services for that purpose. A major emphasis of our program is to identify the present and alternative uses of the machinery and equipment to be sold. With that information, we can then promote very heavily in the proper marketplaces to create bidder interest. After a walkthrough of an entire industrial facility or a large grouping of equipment to be sold by the auction process, we can give you a very good idea of what your expectation should be using the auction process as the method of liquidation. Mohr Auction Marketing Services are very comprehensive. They begin with identification of the items to be sold, analysis of the marketplace for those items, preparation of all of the advertising and promotional material that will be used. There is a great emphasis upon telemarketing. We do a great deal of telemarketing to promote awareness of the auction within the same and in other industries. Site preparation, conducting the actual auction, and then supervising the removal of the items sold. When we proceed with a liquidation using the auction process, we first identify the assets to be sold. This is generally done on site with our personnel and a representative of the company for whom we're going to conduct the auction. Advertising is a very important part of an auction. From the photography to the layouts, we prepare all aspects of the brochures. We place the advertisements that will be used in trade publications or newspapers or elsewhere, and we also do the actual direct mailing within our own facility with our own personnel. We maintain our own mailing list that's coded by end user categories, in addition to mailing lists that we may buy for very specialized applications of some of the equipment. Our staff of personnel do an extensive amount of telemarketing prior to an auction to create buyer interest both within and outside of the industry to bring as many interested parties as we can to the auction. Site preparation is very important. Our personnel come on site and will arrange the facility in such a manner that we get the proper flow as far as the dollar values and general types of equipment as the auction proceeds through the day. We're also very conscientious about the need to have sufficient room around the assets being sold and the correct presentation of the facility itself in order to get the best possible auction results. At the time of bidder registration, we're also qualifying the bidder for their ability to pay for their purchases and collecting data which goes into the computer to give them a quick checkout at the conclusion of the auction. The personnel on site during the day of the auction are our own personnel who are both assisting in the bidding process as well as delivering the auction and giving out purchase receipts and other functions as necessary for an orderly auction. Our auctioneers are very well acquainted with industrial machinery. They know the commodities that we're selling. They're familiar with what the fair market value would be. They deliver a very professional auction. While the auction is being conducted, the computer operator is entering the data of what has been sold to whom and for what price. When a bidder has completed his bidding, he can get a very rapid checkout with his invoice and, of course, payments made to us at that time. At the conclusion of the auction, we generally will allow a brief period of time for small items to be removed to those people who have paid for their purchases. Larger items generally will be removed within 48 hours of the conclusion of the auction unless some other special arrangements are made for items that may have extensive rigging requirements for removal. All purchases are made on an as-is, where-is basis, so it's the purchaser's responsibility to have the items removed. All contractors are checked by our personnel to have the proper insurance coverage to work in the facility. Our clients experience a very orderly liquidation, which is very effective. It's a very strong marketing program, and it results in a most successful auction because it is all undertaken by our own personnel from within our own company. We handle the project completely from the beginning to the end. We can leave your facility just as clean as you need it to be at the conclusion of the auction after we've converted your assets into cash.